me hypo, and I'm like, welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I'm Jared. I'm here with Robert. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up?
And today we are talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, aka one of the best DC movies, I think, of all time, at least in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair.
And before you guys say anything, we're not going to talk about the travesty to movies that is the Whedon cut of Justice League. We're just not.
Wait a minute. Did you just say the name?
No, I said the Whedon cut. I didn't say it. I didn't say the first name. It doesn't.
Hey, well, since when has that been stopping you?
Why did you say that name?
Happy anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. So to be clear, all right. So for background, Zack had to leave the movie for personal reasons. And then, of course, the studio brought in He Who Must Not Be Named because of his, history doing, Avengers movies. So they were like, oh, okay.
They thought it would work.
They thought it would work. So what happened was... Hey, what's up, Cameron? So what happened was, it's like... the movie tanks, and then a month later, one of the, not to say scoopers, but when the analyst said, okay, there is a Snyder cut of Justice League, and it's supposed to be really better. And I was like, how much could have been taken out? Because again, I had no idea about how much a studio could screw up a movie until I saw this thing. Because it's like when you watch it, well, I had an indicator when Zack was sending stuff, was posting to Vero black and white photos of Dark Side and all that stuff, and I go, what? Wait, what? And then when he says there's additional hours worth of stuff I cut out, I'm like, hours? Say again, hours? So I was like, okay, please tell me more. So the Snyder Cut's announced in 2020, and it comes out. And the thing is, it's vastly different from the previous.
Much longer, too.
Much longer, and that work, because here's the thing. People are like, the movie's too long. And I go, obviously, if the movie were to be released in theaters or was actually released in theaters, it would not have been this long.
This would have been the Blu-ray version.
Yeah, the longest it would have been is 3 hours. The longest.
And let's be probably not even that.
I would say 3 hours. I would say 3 hours. Well, actually, in the case of Warner Brothers being wanting to because the reason why they told Zack it has to be 2 hours was because they wanted to be able to put it in as many theaters as possible. That's why.
Which, to be fair, that is what it's for a studio to want to do.
Yeah, so the longest I could see it being is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 2.5 hours.
2.5 to 3 hours, maybe. Anyway, so the movie is here. This is the first thing I love about Zack's movies, and I mentioned this in the Batman versus Superman stream. It starts off immediately during the ending of the previous movie, and it shows it from another perspective. And we see when Superman's screaming. By the way, in Batman versus Superman, when Superman is screaming, you can see the shock waves of his voice going off right when the thing explodes. So Zack was already doing that, and it wakes up the mother boxes. Now in this, what they establish is, because you may be wondering, okay, why didn't the boxes ever wake up beforehand? Because, and they heavily imply this, that the Apocalyptians were afraid of Superman, and it's they knew that Earth would be vulnerable if they can, if the Superman is dead.
My one complaint about that is it's making it be like the mother boxes work for Dark Side when they shouldn't.
Well, these ones do, because they're not like the ones from the comics. Let's be.
I know that's what I'm saying is that I'm so used to it. This sounds like these would have been father boxes.
Regardless, so Cyborg has a box, the Atlanteans have a box, and the Amazons do. Then we cut to Batman, and he's trying to reassemble the League. So he finds Aquaman. The conversation is vastly different than it was in the movie. Like the whole I heard you talk to fish thing. That was a Whedon. Oh God. That okay? You know what? I'm temporarily suspending that because otherwise I'm going to be blasting this clip. That was a Whedon thing because for some reason the guy put in so many, like no one brings that up. Like, what are you doing?
No, I mean, I thought it was a good chuckle-worthy line, but I get what you mean.
Particularly later when he goes, do you talk to fish? The ocean does the talking. And I go, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Right.
I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, so, hey, what's up, Bell Rev? So the other part that like some people thought was kind of weird is the woman singing as Aquaman like leaves. But what you have to understand about Zack's movies is that they were treating these characters like they were like gods amongst men, and that's the vibe that Zack has always gone for.
Mm-hmm.
And
just to remind people, part of this was also trying to be a course correction movie. Horrible to do, and it's the whole thing of they started production immediately, like literally immediately after BVS came out, and that's never a good thing, especially if you're going to do it. That was almost like they were banking on an instant success and be like, we'll just move right in.
Robert, originally this movie was not going to be a course correction movie because of
course. Oh no, I agree.
Yeah, it was like, no, look, it was. This was all the story was. Here's the funny part: WB knew what the story was going to be ahead of time because Zack had to pitch it to them.
Yep, I agree. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the problem was on WB's fault for basically banking so much on this is going to be such an instant success. We got nothing to worry about going. We could just start immediately into the next one when it's like, uh-oh.
Well, beyond that, it's like they thought BVS was going to make an instant billing because it had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in it.
That's what I'm saying. That was on them. And let's also remind the other reason why Josh was brought in, because there was no delaying. The head of the president of WB was basically saying, I want my bonus. I can only get the bonus if it comes out on time.
That's not why he was brought in, because he was brought. No. He was brought in to complete the movie. When Joss was hired, he requested an extension because he goes, in order to do this properly, I'm going to need more time. That's when they said no.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing is they needed someone to finish it in general is what I'm saying to get it out at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So
so much of the problem boils back to that problem.
Yeah. So then we cut to, by the way, I love so we meet Alfred. And like I said in the BVS stream, God, I love Jeremy Adams' Alfred, where he goes,
you did it again.
Bro, I said Alfred.
No, you said Jeremy Adams.
Jeremy Irons. I love Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I love where Alfred goes. Maybe someone that broods in a cave isn't cut out to be a recruiter.
Okay, and dude, hate to tell you this. Like I told you, this will be quick. I gotta go.
Yeah, it's all good, dude. I can handle it.
I got chat. I asked you if he says Adams again, just call it out to him.
Yes, please. Anyway, I'll see you, dude.
See ya.
Anyway, so you get more of the interaction with Alfred and Bruce, obviously. And part of the things that I really, well, yeah. And by the way, Cameron, you make a good point. Who wouldn't sing when they see Aquaman? Yeah, exactly. So what you get next is they're in the pool. I think the plane scene is next. Yeah, they're in the plane and they're going over like all the people are trying to recruit for this team because Earth is vulnerable now that Superman is like dead. And I love where Alfred says, so you're so convinced a threat is coming and you're trying to assemble this team just because of Lex Luthor's notes. And then Batman says, it's not about Lex Luthor. It's about Superman. And I spent a lot of time trying to divide us. I have to make this right by bringing together the league, essentially. So travels. And then we cut to essentially we cut to London where there is a terrorist attack on I think it was like it's an attack on a school trip at I forget exactly what it's supposed to be in London, but there's a terrorist attack. Then Wonder Woman shows up. And one of the things I love about this version of the movie is they really emphasize how fast and badass Diana is. Like, she bashes in through the wall. They're firing guns at her, and she just moves out of the way before the round can hit her, because obviously she's moving super fast, but like we're seeing the world through like her perspective, and she just goes to work. She like completely like smacks them against walls. They shoot her, and she does the whole gauntlet blocking move, which is amazing. And then she grabs the bomb, flies into the air, and this is the first time that we see like this version of Wonder Woman flying. Again, it would have been Zack that first showed Wonder Woman flying instead of that crappy Wonder Woman sequel. But anyway, so then let's see what else. Okay, so the terrorist goes to shoot the hostages, and then Diana shows up and like slow motion does all this and like blocks it, and then she does the whole booshing thing. And then what I love about this, so you get like the kid, and everyone's like, no, those kids are traumatized, and I go, yeah, they didn't act like it, so why don't you guys just stop assuming what's going on in the movie if you're just gonna not like, if you're not gonna get that right. So then the Diana essentially comforts the girl, and then the little girl says, "Can I be like you someday?" And then Diana smiles and goes, "You can be anything you want to be." And I just freaking love it, because the cool part about this that I think is like one of the coolest things like in this, because I like to think that I see my theory is that this girl is Donna Troy and would have gone on to be developed had more of these movies come out, because this is roughly the Donna Troy origin of like the comics, because in the comics, one of the origins of Donna is Diana saves her from like a fire and like basically adopts her. So I think that's one of the ways you could have gone with this storyline. Hey, what's up, Tavia? So then what you get is my day is going very well. Thank you, sir. So then what you get is then we cut to, okay. Yeah, I remember that rumor. Yeah, exactly. I again, it's like it's a little theory I have. It's not necessarily. It's never been like confirmed or addressed by Zack, and Robert's back. What's up, dude?
Back for a few minutes.
So I just talked about Diana saving everyone, and the critique of, okay, so now those people are traumatized by seeing her murder people, and I go, what?
I'll say this. I have my issues with it, but at the same time, again, any issue I have with it is more the fact of why was it written more than what her doing it.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, like, I talked about my theory of, okay, wait a minute. Is this girl Donna Troy that Diana comforts? Because it's very similar to the origin of Donna. It's never been confirmed or anything by Zack. I want to be clear on that. Yeah. But it's like a little theory that I have.
But you get what I'm saying, right? I'm not saying that it's not a matter of like people are traumatized. Okay, those are people overdoing it. I'm just not happy with the choice.
Okay, that's fine.
That's what I think. My thing is like, I'm not happy with the choice, because it does seem to go right to the whole, what killing is not her first option, but it's definitely nowhere near the last resort. It feels more like the second or third resort, and that's why I don't care about it. It just feels like it doesn't feel like a last resort. It feels more like a spite not to the kill, obviously the criminal, obviously, but it's like, all right then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
that's my issue. That's my issue with it. It just felt, I won't say out of character, just not well characterized.
Well, again, it's like you have to eliminate the threat. Yeah,
Oh, I know. I'm just saying
anyway.
I could think of a few other ways. That's all.
That's fine. That's fine. Anyway.
Yep.
And Robert, check the private chat. Anyway, so next what happens is you get more of like development of the Justice League, and then I'm gonna like I'll be jumping around everywhere, but then what you get is we get to we're gonna skip to the Amazons of Themyscira.
Okay,
And
that was one of the best parts. That was one of the best parts.
This even more shows me that if Zack, imagine Zack doing an Amazons movie, because it's basically 300.
Wait, did you guys bring up about Aquaman or Atlantis? Because I'll be honest, some of the choices are still like.
It's I'll get to that, but
All right, I thought you brought it up since I saw it in the chat, so that's what I was asking.
no, we were talking about the scene with Aquaman like hanging out and stuff.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, this is one of the best parts. So the mother box gets active, boom tubes open, and parademons show up, and then we get the look at the infinitely better looking Steppenwolf.
Agreed.
Like the last one looked like just a CGI Liam Neeson.
To be fair though, this is also that because they have more time to work on it.
Actually, not really.
Oh really? This was the design.
This was always going to be the default design. Even the
Then why
concept
change
art
it?
book
Then
doesn't.
why change it?
Because WB wanted one that looked less scary.
Really?
Yeah, that is literally the reasoning they gave. That's the reason why Superman is not in the black suit in the Whedon cut when he comes back.
Oh, because scary again.
Scary and
like...
dark. When you actually look at WB's reasoning, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you guys got fired.
Again, feels like knee-jerk reaction to BVS.
Yeah, so so in this version also, this larger, because he's also massive in this, when he's like being like dogpiled by Amazons, that is infinitely like that. It's more believable that this version would be able to like take like multiple Amazons like jumping on him.
Yeah, definitely.
And then what you get, this is the other part that's different. So they go, the Amazon generals go and get the army. Now in the original movie, they make it seem like, okay, the door just closes and then Steppenwolf like cuts out and stuck there. In this, no, the door does close, but then the whole damn temple just falls into the ocean.
Oh.
And it's like, yeah, that's how much of a threat that this is, that the Amazons had a self-destruct mechanism in case Steppenwolf ever showed up.
Or anyone from Apocalypse.
From Apocalypse. And then he just jumps through. I mean, he jumps out and we get like a high-speed horse chase with the Amazons. And I love this. He is like, I love where he's getting like blasted with arrows. He just flexes and all of them snap. He's whipping horses everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, when this movie was coming out, people were the more socially justice part of the fandom got pissed because he's like, look at Zack demonstrating violence against women.
Okay, what are we supposed to do? Just end the movie there because they beat him?
I'm like,
is that what they're expecting? Just end the movie there because they won?
Well, not only that, they're warriors.
Yeah, exactly. They're warriors. They know what they're doing.
It's like, and if you're saying, why are they getting slaughtered by Steppenwolf? Because it's not their movie. That's why.
Exactly. It's not their movie, and Diana is the one better than them all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Diana is the daughter of Zeus in this universe.
Exactly. And you remember this? They barely survived with other armies in the first time around. This time it's just them.
Because that is extremely expanded. Anyway, so then Steppenwolf escapes because he gets the box, and I love where they go, men won't know. They are lighting essentially. It's essentially like in Lord of the Rings.
Yep, lighting the flares or whatever.
Yeah, the beacons.
Contacting Gandor or whatever.
Gondor, yeah.
Gondor.
And I love where when the Amazons goes, men won't know what it means. Men won't. She will. She'll know what it means.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that like if Hippolyta was telling Diana stories of the gods, she would tell her, oh yeah, this intergalactic conqueror invaded.
Exactly.
She definitely would, and I love this. So they launch the arrow, and then Diana again instantly knows what that is, and then we cut and we see Barry Allen for the first time, and this
With
is a very
Iris.
yeah, exactly. This part was not in the movie at all, and this is a very choice iteration of Barry. I get it that it's not necessarily the comics version of Barry, but I
It's
felt
closer to Wally.
yeah, and I felt it worked for this version where he's trying out to be like a dog walker, and then Iris gets into a car accident. He runs in, like, saves her, and I love the way, if you notice, he's being very gentle with her because it's established in this universe that well, it's not established in the universe, but Zack wanted to be as like accurate to actual science as possible, because if you're moving that fast and you just go like this, you're gonna twist her in half.
So he's basically removing the safety safety net of the Speed Force.
Yeah, well, and also we saw this as well. When Barry turns, his shoes like disintegrate. And I felt like that was like, that's another really cool part. And I love where Barry, he grabs a hot dog that's flying through the air, and you're wondering, why is he doing that? And then
Metabolism.
No, it's not that. It's not that. So to hide what just happened, he zooms after he saves Iris. He zooms back into the pet store, and he has the dogs like licking over his face because he has the hot dog, and he goes, "In times of crisis, I always have a meat snack." And I go, okay, that's good. I like that.
Yep.
I like that a lot. And then now we're going to do Atlantis. Now, here's the thing. So first off, there are a couple of, so first we see Volko, which again, wasn't in the Whedon cut of the movie. And
nope.
We get kind of the start of establishing where Arthur even was in the beginning of Aquaman, where it's like he doesn't like the Atlanteans, probably because of the Queen. And we see like the mom's trident, the armor and such, because in the Whedon cut, they never established where he got the armor and trident from. That's the interesting thing. And so then, let's see what else. So then what we get is
the British talk.
Yeah, that's the other part, and I'm like, I get you want to see it. And also they talk in dolphin. Now let me be clear on this. The reasoning why with all this stuff is because WB never gave Zack like guidance on what to do with this at all. They gave him zero information on what he's supposed to do.
But I would say that's one of the cases where it's kind of a good thing they didn't lock it in, because imagine what that would have done to Aquaman.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The way I always explained it in my headcanon, if you will, is that they always talk like that. It's just obviously in Aquaman, we're hearing it from someone that understands. And the air bubble thing, that's for privacy.
All right, but the accents.
The accents, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. I get that.
And I'll tell you this. Probably one of the few things having less Mira. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so that's it. So that's kind of cool there. So hey, what's up, Hal Jordan? How you doing? So what else is really cool about this? So then we see Aquaman fight like Steppenwolf, and it's kind of like it's like a dog fight and stuff, because they're all moving. And I love this where Steppenwolf goes, "You can't escape," and Mira goes, "I'm not trying to." So she starts pulling the water out of his body, and I'm like, nice. Oh yeah, Mira can do that.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, and then the blood starts coming out, and I go, oh my god.
Yep. Again, if it was any other actress, I would be like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So cutting, then we get like, I love this scene. So you have Batman and Wonder Woman essentially divide up the work. He's gonna go recruit the Flash. She's gonna recruit Cyborg. This is the other part that's like heavily like
Oh yeah, because again, they had to chop. Here's the thing: what would have happened if they was still what would they have chopped? I hate to say it. I think part of the cyborg stuff would have been one of the things on the chopping block if you needed to reduce it from 4 to 2.5.
Well, I'm starting on the Barry part because with the
All
Barry
right.
part, he shows up and hey, what's up, hey, what's up, Lewis? So, in the Barry part is kind of the same, except here's the thing: in the Whedon cut, for some reason, like K-pop music starts playing in the background. Well, yeah, I'm like, what does this have to do with Barry Allen? In this, it's like it's silence and you see all the screens, and I love where he goes, Barry Allen, Bruce Wayne. He goes, you say that as if that explains why a total stranger is in my.
That was right from the trailer. I remember that.
Yeah, I know. I love this, and I love where like Barry is like where Barry's trying to hide who he is, and I freaking love where they're talking about the suit, and then Barry goes, "I do competitive. I do speed skating," and he goes, "That this is the same material on the space shuttle. I do very competitive speed skating." I'm like, yeah, I love that. And then
again,
also
that's very Wally-esque, but again, most versions they Flash going for Wally for whatever reason.
Yeah, even in the CW. And I love where we also get I'm fluent in like sign language, gorilla sign language, and I'm like, Grodd reference.
Yep.
I love that. I love it. And Bell Rev says, I think Zach was going for a more medieval twist on the Atlantis. Yeah, that's the accent. Yeah, 100%. I can doubt.
Oh no, I get that. I get that. I'm just saying, in the long run.
Well, let me put it this way: they should, if they wanted, if Zach stayed around. Hey, what's up, NJ? They would have kept Mira's accent, obviously.
That's what I'm saying. Which again, I don't know if people would have accepted that or not.
I think they would have because there's no like, hey, what's up, Thoth? And yes, happy Batman Day. But it's like it's not necessarily like set in stone whether or not he does have an accent. So you could get away with.
You could also have used it simply saying it was just her portion of Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, remember, she's from.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she from her like colony of Atlantis. That's where all the British Atlanteans are.
Okay, sorry. Again, last I want to talk about Amber Heard.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry, we're done with her. So
good.
So then, let's see, where else? Okay, so I love this scene. So Wonder Woman's tracking down Cyborg, but she's making tea, and Alfred is like backseat teaing her.
Mm-hmm.
I love this where he goes, don't forget not to scold the tea. And you can see Diana's like, self-control. I also love where he shows her the new gauntlets. He goes, a gauntlet that dissipates energy. Maybe we should make a lasso in black, of course. Oh, yes. Yes. And so then she gets essentially summoned by Cyborg, and Cyborg has the mother box. And then it's basically starting off where Cyborg, and where this movie starts off, Cyborg is very down on himself.
Yeah.
And again, this is from the comic straight up, like, particularly in the new 52 era where he was on the League. So that 100% makes sense there.
Right.
And then then let's talk about Cyborg's origin in this movie, because that was like one of the biggest parts that was like completely like
excised.
Yeah, excised in this, which again, I get it. But
if it was any one of the characters that you feel like it was expendable being trimmed down, Cyborg was one of them.
Or maybe, well, here's the thing. What they would have done first is like trim down the slow-mo scenes, because there's enough of those that you could severely trim it down.
That's true.
That's the thing. And there's enough that I think some of it would have shown up eventually. I don't think they would have completely cut all of it out.
True. Now, was the actor play his father available for reshoots?
They didn't do any reshoots.
I thought they did. You know, during the Whedon stuff.
Yes, he was in a few of the reshoots. Remember at the end?
Oh, right.
In the montage and stuff.
Oh, right. They kept him alive in that version.
Yeah, exactly. So in this, it's the standard story. Cyborg is like a very smart kid. He even hacks into like the school to change his friend's grades because she had like a struggling home life, and he obviously he wins the football game. And by the way, fun fact, that entire football scene was choreographed by Zack's son.
Nice.
And then in this, instead of it being like an apocalyptic explosion, it's a car accident. But it must have
Which
been
is what it usually is.
It must have been a really horrific car accident, because when you see him,
usually is.
When he's in the hospital, it's like no like legs, one arm, and it's like I'm like, oh god.
Again, that is usually how it goes, and that's why his father's so desperate to bring him back.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he missed out on everything. So it's like, I wasn't there for my son. I will be there for him now. You turned me into a monster.
Yeah, exactly. So then, in the other Cyborg parts, I'm just going to talk about that while we're talking about Cyborg. We also see the extent of his powers, and it's like, because of like who Cyborg is, it's like, yeah, he could pretty much rule the world because of technology, and we see like he helps like a struggling woman stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's about like.
If I remember right, Zack always said that by the end of his trilogy, Cyborg would have been elevated to a tech god.
Yeah, and he would have been able to like holographically be fully human, if you will.
Right. Again, it's the whole notion of these all people are gods, and by the end they'd all be gods.
Not all of them. Not all. Well,
not all. Not all, but I mean, no, it was mostly going to be. If I remember, Aquaman and Cyborg and Flash would have been. No. Again, I might be misremembering. I didn't keep up with all of it.
Yeah, the only one that is labeled air quote as a god is Cyborg, if you will.
Right. All right, then I misremembered. My mistake.
Wonder Woman would have become Queen of the Amazons, obviously.
And Aquaman would have been King of Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. Because he would have recognized the surface world as the Eighth Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, that works. I like that. So,
yep.
So then what we get is like the league essentially starts like coming together. And by the way, I love the joke, and I'm so glad this was in the Snyder. Oh, it was kind of funny. All the funny jokes were in, all the non-cringe jokes were in the Snyder cut. Like, what are your superpowers again? I'm rich. Yeah, I love that. I love that. But so the league meets in Gotham. But so first we meet Commissioner Gordon and Crispus Allen. Now, Robert, who does Crispus turn into in DC lore?
The Spectre, eventually.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay.
But not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed, but here's the thing. That's the thing I love about Zack's movies. If you know enough about DC lore, you know who that is.
Yep. Well, you at least know him at the very least from Gotham City Central.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay, Anna, gotta go. This time.
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
Take care, man.
No problem. And Lewis says, I used to think that Cyborg is a typical technology superhero, but after watching ZSJL, yeah, he is like a god of, because when you look at how technologically dependent our society is, yeah, someone with those powers would be like that. Anyway, so then what you get is so Steppenwolf has been like kidnapping scientists that like have been near a mother box, including like Atlanteans, and we get all these like interrogation scenes. It's really dope. So Steppenwolf kidnaps Cyborg's father, and what we get next is the League assembles in Gotham, and then they discover that like they're in this like they're in these underground tunnels. So the League shows up, and what I like about this is that then this scene is relatively like the same in terms of like action scenes, but it's like it has more weight. Let me put it to you that way. It has a lot more weight, and that's the thing about like the Snyder cut and stuff. But what we get, what's really cool, is that I love this scene where we see what's the word? Wonder Woman shows up and fights Steppenwolf. And I love where Steppenwolf goes, this one is mine. And then Wonder Woman goes, I belong to no one. And I'm like, yes. It's like, again, Zack knows how to make all of these superheroes just so badass. And they have this whole action scene. And I really, really dig this. And then we get this awesome fight with like everything with like we also get the scene where which explains why Barry was so careful with Iris, because he's like dodging a parademon shooting him. He's like, and then he just gently pushes the parademon, and because of the velocity, yeah, you have the blood of the old gods in you. And I'm like, yep, because she's Zeus's father. And I just love this. So we get this. So Batman shows up with the Nightcrawler and like starts like shooting everything. And then this is the funniest part of this. So when I was watching this movie for the first time, but I've seen it 19 times. I plan on watching it for the 20th time soon. And I've counted 19 times. So we get the scene, and this is so good. I thought, again, when Flash falls and like gets like blasted and like everything falls, and then he like pushes the sword back into Wonder Woman's hand, he falls. I was like, please don't fall into Wonder Woman's boobs. And I'm like, that was a Joss Whedon thing. And then you see he doesn't do that. And I go, hey, Joss, why would you do that? Why? What did that add to the scene? And I'm like, I can see why Gal Gadot like had her career threatened. Zach really takes the carrots up a notch when it. Oh yes. Oh my God. Particularly Superman. Oh God. But it's like part of the reason why Wonder Woman is now. It's when you look at again, and Belrith, that's a good thing. Zach really weighs in on, and this is why I've loved DC more than Marvel. Okay, Kal-El Noah's side, even the line the Snyder cut is better. But in terms of like the way Zach handles DC heroes, he handles them like gods. And let's be honest, that's the way DC kind of weighs in, like leans into when they deal with like their superheroes because of like their power levels and such. And that's what drew me to DC, because I've always been more of a Greek mythology fan. So of course it's like I'm more of a fan of like when the DC heroes are like treated as gods. So then what I really dig about this, continuing on, what I really start to enjoy is that then I love, so Cyborg flies down, hops in the, well, actually first, a piece of the tower is going to like rubble from the tower is going to fall on like the scientists. So Flash is like zooming away, trying to like save everyone. And then Cyborg completes the job, flies back, jumps in the Nightcrawler. Relax, Alfred. I'll take it from here. And then just starts blasting Steppenwolf with like the machine gun and the missile launchers. And then of course Steppenwolf grabs it. He grabs a rocket and throws it at the wall, and then it starts to flood. Then we get Aquaman. And I love how when you see Aquaman and the wave is coming, he's like surfing on the wave. He jumps and just down on the ground with his like trident. And then the League escapes. And then he only needs one more mother box. And so he escapes. And then he talks to like, we get the conversation with like Desaad, which all of these were like cut, which I'm like, why would you do that? And it's like, here's the other part that this movie really added is you actually understood why Steppenwolf was doing what he was doing. It wasn't like he was generic supervillain number 2. In this, it's like, no, he wants to get back in Darkseid's good graces. And by the way, a few future Justice League movies would have delved into the new gods and exactly why did Darkseid forget about like the location of Earth? Why was Steppenwolf banished? So again, Steppenwolf just wants to go home. That's the cool part of this, because that's a relatable thing, but you do it in a way where it doesn't downplay the person's like villainy, if you will. And then when so then he sees Darkseid, and when Darkseid shows up, when this scene was being built up, I was like, how is Darkseid going to sound? Because he needs a badass voice. He has to actually sound like a villain. And then I hear this voice.
Anti-life is found, Desaad, and we will stop at nothing to possess it.
Wow. That is the voice of an evil god. And that is that yes, Darkseid was so intimidating. In fact, even when he's like being summoned, you see all the parademons start like kneeling, the sound, like the music cues, even Steppenwolf's armor like retracts, like even the armor is both alive and scared of Darkseid. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the League assembles in Batman's hangar. And okay, so what I love about this, so this explains a couple of things. It explains how the mother boxes work, explains where the humans got the box, and it also pays off that Wonder Woman post-credit scene. Man, I wanted to sip Darkseid from Super Friends. Nice, NJ. So then, this is the best part. They explain what they actually have a conversation about bringing back Superman, because in the Whedon cut, it's more of a fight to bring back Superman. In this, it's like, no, everyone comes to that whole conclusion because they're like, because Wonder Woman's like, I've never fought a being that strong, or I've never seen a being that strong. Wait, except for one, Superman. So they're like, okay, Superman's dead. How do we do this? So then Cyborg explains what the mother box is, and he's like, they can reshape matter at the will of their masters and can reinstate. Then they explain it. Okay, so it's like when you burn down a house, the particles of the house still exist. It's just they're changed into smoke. So if a mother box can turn smoke back into a house, and you get the Superman theme. Everyone's turning. No one says anything yet. And then Barry goes, everyone's saying the same thing right now. Who's saying it? I'll say it. And then no one says we're going to bring back Superman. Cyborg just has a hologram of Superman. And I'm like, this is so much well done. See, you know what this is? Showing, but not telling. Showing, but not telling. That's the key part there. And NJ, Ares is not as strong as any of the new gods. I got news for you. He's not. I'm just going to tell you that right there. And that's the cool part. And then we get Lois being comforted by Martha Kent and telling her to get back into the world. Then Martha morphs into Martian Manhunter. And then morphs into General Swanwick, which the implication being General Swanwick has been Martian Manhunter this entire time. The General from Man of Steel, BVS, has been Martian Manhunter the entire time. And then we cut to the hangar, and Batman is basically saying, no, we're bringing him back. There is no team without Superman, and we have a way to bring him back. And then they explain, and then Arthur asks, okay, wait a second. Who's to say Superman could beat the Apocalyptians? Old gods are more powerful than new gods. Based on what? Based on what? Because Darkseid imbues the new gods with power, with his new gods with powers. So that there's no indicator there. But anyway, but beyond that, I love this. Aquaman asks, who's to say that that like Superman could defeat Steppenwolf? And then Batman goes, yeah, the mother boxes did. They never came back. They waited until Superman's dead because they were afraid of him. And even you see in like when we first see like Darkseid, I mean, Steppenwolf talking to Zod, he goes, this world's divided. No protectors, no lanterns. I'm like, oh yes, no Kryptonians. Because I think that was like either headcanon or theory that Doomsday that the actual Doomsday was created on Krypton to fight Darkseid. In other words, the Kryptonians have met the Apocalyptians before. So there you go. Anyway, so then they decide they're going to bring him back. So they exhume Superman, and it's more like respectful, like where Cyborg and Flash are like manually digging out Superman, but Flash goes, you know, we could do this in like a nanosecond, right? And what's really great about this is that Cyborg is like, yeah, we could. Implication is, no, but Superman deserves the respect. We're going to give him the respect he deserves. Then we learn that like the Amazons have been at war with the Atlanteans, and like they're more alike than they like to think, because it's like they have that same saying, no one can come back from the darkness, not without giving one up in return. And I also love, okay, Wonder Woman, the first time she's referred to as Wonder Woman. And then Barry goes, you think she'd go with a younger guy? And then Flash goes, she's 5,000 years old, Barry. Every guy is a younger guy. And then we get more development of Batman being more like convicted that we need to bring Superman back. And I really love that. We're like, where like Alfred goes, if you want to bring down the charging bull, don't wave the red cape at it. He goes, you do with this red cape. This red cape actually charges back. And I'm like, yes. So they go and they bring back Superman, but not before we get a nightmare vision that's basically showing this is what's going to happen. Like Superman taking over, killing the Justice League. But no, he didn't. Oh my God. She wasn't nerfed. Darkseid is that powerful. I've said this many times. He didn't nerf her, NJ. Because the whole point of this movie is that none of these heroes could beat Darkseid alone, and not even in the comics can Diana body Darkseid. And I'm sorry, no. I'm going to very much disagree on that. Remember the first trailers before Zack got fired? I got goosebumps when I heard Steppenwolf's kind of no lanterns. Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my God. Would have been a deep cut for him to say no Daxamites. Yeah, I know Thoth, but here's the thing. No one in the audience would have known what a Daxamite is. I mean, we would know, but the general audience was going to be like, what's a Daxamite? And plus, we haven't seen Daxamites in this earth. We've seen Kryptonians, though. So then... All right, so then what happens next? So then I know. Wonder Woman versus Darkseid and Rebirth by James Robinson. Yeah, but that was a Darkseid that was weaker because he was coming back. That's not true. That's not powered up Darkseid. This is powered up Darkseid. Anyway, because remember, this is Darkseid at the level of power that he was in Justice League Origin. So anyway, so Superman comes back, but at first he's like frazzled. And he fights the League, and then this is just to communicate how powerful Superman is. Like he's like manhandling the League, including Wonder Woman. And you could say Wonder Woman could subdue him. I know, but she's not trying to. They're trying to snap him out of it, including with the lasso of truth. You can kind of see that starts it. And then Lois shows up, and then she snaps him out of it. And then in this, Steppenwolf shows up and grabs the mother box. Well, actually attacks Silas Stone, who superheats the mother box so it's easier to find, because he knew, I'm going to die. My son is going to be able to defeat Steppenwolf. And I love this line where like Batman goes, okay, we'll use my satellite to track it. And then Flash goes, you have a satellite? And Batman goes, I have 6. And then Barry's just like, okay. And so then we cut to the last part. Superman goes to the Kent farm, and like he starts to like reaccumulate, and then the League shows up at the Batcave, and I love where Flash like, this is awesome. And he goes, everyone, this is Alfred. I work for him, and they have the whole conversation of here's the plan, and then Cyborg goes, you want me to use these gifts, right? Okay, I'm gonna use them, and I love where we get the line from the trailer where Flash goes, this guy's probably taken out hundreds of super beings on other planets before, right? And we have to assume he's one. And then Batman goes, yeah, but he basically says he's never fought us, not us united. I'm like, And then Superman has the whole, like, we cut back to the Kent farm. Superman reunites with like Lois and his mother. And then he goes like, I have a second chance. I'm not going to waste it. And then the League, a Cyborg manages to reactivate the Batman's like essentially troop carrier, the Flying Fox. Can we at least agree that the speed of Hermes went down the toilet in that scene? Also, the lasso should have brought him back, not Lois. Well, okay, 2 things, NJ. I'm gonna agree with you on that. I'm gonna agree with you on that. All right, speed of Hermes. Superman was also moving fast, so you could say that kind of evened it out. Second off, it's explicitly shown with Superman that when he had the lasso, that started the process of getting him out of like that mindset. And then you can say that, and Zack confirmed that what snapped Superman out, it was not necessarily that Lois was there, it's that Lois was pregnant. So it's a bit more than that, and he could see it with his X-ray vision. And yes, Aquaman saying it's not fair. We have to do this to him. And then the Flying Fox shows up, and then Batman goes, Superman will be here, Alfred. I know it. What makes you so sure? Faith, Alfred. Faith. And then Steppenwolf starts the process of the unity. And then I love it cuts to them having their plan. And the League finally has their plan. And then it cuts to the Kryptonian scout ship. And then we get what is one of my favorite Superman scenes ever. Superman's walking through, and then we see all the lines from Jor-El and Jonathan Kent. The whole thing about the symbol of the House of El. You're going to have to make a choice. All those lines as he walks through the scout ship. And then he puts on the black suit, and then all the new lines. And it's John Kent saying, you need to show them who you are. Fly, son, it's time. And he just takes off, absorbs sunlight. The League is getting like all jacked up with heavy metal music. It's all badass. They land, the gates open, and then Batman does his whole distraction. And then the ship crashes, but then the parademons are like attacking. And then this scene happens. And then Batman just runs out and is causing a distraction. The League like rally up and like save him. And then I love where Aquaman is fighting all the parademons. And this was another scene that I was like, please be in the Snyder Cut. Please be in the Snyder Cut. When Aquaman is caught by Cyborg, and then Cyborg goes, "You're welcome." And then Aquaman just goes, actually, you know what? Aquaman goes, where is my clip? I need this. I need to make sure I have this. I should have this clip. Hang on. Yeah. He's like surfing down a parademon as it goes down a building. And so the plan is Barry's going to build up speed, because if he builds up enough speed, he can like blast out energy, the energy required to project Cyborg into the unity so he can separate it. So the League shows up and fights Steppenwolf, and Wonder Woman's still a badass in this. She's fighting him, and it's not going that well because Steppenwolf is that powerful, and the implication is that he's powered up by the mother box, because when he opens up his eyes, they're like glowing blue. So that was my theory on that. I forgot how Zach said that he loopholed the black suit, because what he literally did was, so Superman is always wearing the blue suit, but if you notice, it's in the Whedon cut, it's the suit he was wearing. And if you notice, it's like significantly brighter than it was in BVS. That's because what Zach did is he did a shortcut in Photoshop. So in the event that they allowed him to do the black suit, he could just flip a switch and it turns black. And by the way, if you didn't tell anyone that was that suit is not as blue on set and that's like CGI, no one believes it because it looks that freaking good. I'm like, what? And then I love where Steppenwolf knocks Wonder Woman and Aquaman back. Well, actually, he knocks Aquaman back. Rubble is falling on him, so Wonder Woman goes and protects Aquaman. Cyborg jumps up. Steppenwolf jumps up. I'm sorry. I agree with you on everything you said about the movie, except her being nerfed so badly. That was utter humiliation. We know in the comics, Zeus versus Wonder Woman is also so freaking close. Freaking close. Yeah, exactly. And Superman, and remember, you can make the argument that Wonder Woman was still holding back. So, okay, you know what? Agree to disagree on that, then NJ. It's all good. It's all good. Palrave says, I love how Superman saved Cyborg. Yeah, we're going to do that. So, Steppenwolf goes for Darkseid, and then we get this.
Not impressed.
So, when this scene was building up, I thought again that Cyborg was going to get hurt by Steppenwolf, because there's a scene with the axe coming down and actually hits Cyborg's shoulder. So I was like, okay, that's going to happen. No.
Not impressed.
And then Superman proceeds to manhandle Steppenwolf. And this is the answer to why the Apocalyptians are afraid of Kryptonians, because Superman just blows out and then just proceeds to shatter Steppenwolf's axe and beat the ever-loving crap out of him. And I love where Aquaman and Wonder Woman come out of the rubble. Aquaman's like, all right. And then Wonder Woman's like, oh, Kal-El. And then she lands, she's smiling. She does the whole booshing. And they're like, they're like bouncing Steppenwolf back and forth. Like, it's not even a fight now. And I love where they knock him back. Superman just flies up, punches him, flies up into space, comes crashing down, and then heat visions off Steppenwolf's horn. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like punching Steppenwolf down. And then again, this shows it's not, it was still not enough, because what happened about toxic Superman fans always bring up this very scene of downplay her power. Wonder Woman could have manhandled Steppenwolf too, like she did to Orion the New 52. Movie Wonder Woman is slightly different, but okay, I get you. But the point of this scene was that it's the Justice League uniting to stop Steppenwolf. It's like they weren't truly united until Superman is there. That's what that was supposed to like be. So that's the point of this. So then, yeah, it was a massive beatdown, but it's not enough, because I love the mother box opens and Barry gets like hit. So he's trying to heal, but the unity happens. And then what I love is then Barry runs back in time. And this was the first thing that was cut when they went to the Whedon Cup. And then he's running. This is the scene that won the fan favorite Oscar moment, by the way. Barry is like running, and you get the whole conversation he had early in the movie with his father, where he goes, "Make your own future, make your own past." It's all right there, and he like retools, and then Cyborg. I mean, he reaches Cyborg and projects him in, and then Cyborg meets like essentially the spirits of the mother boxes, which tell him, "Hey, if you give up, we can be together again. We can make you whole." And then Steppenwolf says, Cyborg says, "I'm not broken and I'm not alone." And then he tears them apart with the help of Superman. And then Aquaman stabs Steppenwolf through the back, holds him up with the trident. Superman punches him, and then Wonder Woman decapitates him. Then we get this dope scene of like Darkseid staring at the Justice League, and they're like, nope, you're not coming through right now. And then Steppenwolf, and then the portal closes, and Darkseid essentially says, "My master, now that the mother boxes have been destroyed, how will you retrieve your great prize?" To which Darkseid replies,
"Anti-life is found, Desaad, and we will stop at nothing to possess it. Ready the Armada. We will use the old ways."
Yeah, and then we see like Granny Goodness in the background, Apocalypse. Then we get the dope scene of them standing on top of the silo, and it's playing the epic like Greek mythology music playing. And then I like where at the end of the movie we get an epilogue with Cyborg rebuilding the tape recorder from his father, and it's his father basically saying how proud he is of Victor, and it's all like being shown with all the different league members. Then we get the Superman shirt rip, and then we get the other scene, which was supposed to set up the Ben Affleck Batman movie. Deathstroke breaks Lex Luthor out of prison, shows up, and then Lex Luthor tells Deathstroke, yeah, his Batman's name is Bruce Wayne, so you can go take him out. And this is also the formation of the Legion of Doom. And then we get the cool the nightmare scene where it shows more of like Superman being evil, but it's like Batman's nightmare. And then Batman meets Martian Manhunter, and this was originally supposed to be Green Lantern. Batman changed it because Warner Brothers would not let him have a Green Lantern in there because they were afraid it was going to confuse audiences, because they had a Green Lantern series on at the time. It never happened, but they had it going at the time. Just like when they said, "Oh, don't worry, we have a plan." Really? Because I don't think I didn't see you have a plan. So then one of the best scenes, Martian Manhunter tells Batman, "You know, I never thought I'd see the Defenders of Earth fighting side by side as one. Your mother and father would be proud, Bruce." And then Batman goes, "I hope so." Then he flies off and goes, "By the way, you can call me the Martian Manhunter." And then he like takes off. And by the way, Leto's Joker, what a redemption, because it's like, this is and it's like the reason why Zack did this scene is like he goes, look, in the event I don't get to do more movies, I don't want to not have a scene of Joker and Batman interacting. There has to be at least one interaction. And the movie ends, and yeah, this is my favorite DC movie of all time. It's the reason why I formed my channel. So it's the reason why I'm here, why you guys are all here in this chat. So that's a key. This is one of the most important movies in my entire life. How many alternate timelines? Yep. Multiple attempts at different Earths. Yeah, exactly. How many alternate timelines? And of course, and Batman being Joker being aware of the different timelines actually makes sense. This is also a dumb question. Like, these corporations need to know fans are not as stupid as they are. Yeah, exactly. They think that fans are stupid. I heard I plan to revive Wonder Woman in the Nightmare Future as the goddess of war. No. What happened was, it wasn't to revive Wonder Woman. That was a nightmare that Wonder Woman had, where she has these dreams of killing Superman as the god of war. She was going to, it was going to be more of she gets killed and then she stays dead. She was never going to like come back as like the god of war, because if she did, she could take out like everything. So it's more like that was more of like a nightmare that Wonder Woman was having. The dialogue with Batman Joker was gold. I know. It's where Batman goes, so as I held Harley Quinn in my arms, she made me promise that that when I kill you, I make it slow. And then Joker's kind of shaking. Then Batman goes, why would you send a boy to do a boy wonder to do a man's job? And I go, oh God, Robin. But yeah, all in all, this was my favorite movie. I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10 because it is the best DC movie I think I've ever seen. And this was the movie that made at least most DC fans like go, okay, Zack Snyder's not really that bad. There were still some that are like stupid people and still like have the dumbest critiques of these movies. But all in all, normal Wonder Woman, and she hasn't bloodlusted, is also unstoppable too. Yeah, exactly. But all in all, it's exactly dead. Well, Dead Earth also had the blood of all the gods in her, so that was still that is still bloodlusted. NJ, I've always believed that a nightmare show could introduce the multiverse and make different superheroes without being forced. Yeah, you could do that as well. Let's be honest. In the event that they bring Zack back to complete a story, what would likely happen is that we wouldn't get the Nightmare movie. It would just be the conclusion with like the Legion of Doom, and then Darkseid invades, and then they stop Darkseid. That's mostly what that would be, because they wouldn't be able to like cram everything in unless they did. You're good. You almost had me. I know. Unless they did it where where it was like a 2-season show on Max, where on HBO Max, where it's basically like season 1 is Justice League, 2 is Justice League 3. They could do that. That would work. But all in all, yeah, my favorite DC movie of all time is, again, the reason why I'm a DC fan, the reason why I got back into comics after 4 years away. And this is one of the best DC movies. And this is my favorite Zack Snyder movie, full on. I always hate when they make, trust me, NJ, I hate that as well. But it's not necessary. With Zack, he made it a little better, because it's just the loss of Lois made him susceptible to the anti-life equation. So there's still a third party controlling him. It's not like an Injustice where he just turns evil. That's why in my mind, when people compare this to Injustice, and I go, no, actually Zack improved on Injustice. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it. So it's a fantastic movie. And then next week, we're going to be talking about Aquaman. And so in terms of like what content you can expect from Comics League is that, so on Monday, Super Wonder the Legacy episode's coming out, where Britt and I are going to be talking about Superman and Wonder Woman's roles as mentors in the DC universe. And then Bell Riff says, I love how Jared Leto took that small scene serious. He's a method actor. I look into his eyes. Yeah, exactly. That he looked like the Joker. That's the crazy part about it. The dude really, really, really got the Joker character. And then, so let's see. In terms of in terms of like, so on Tuesday, Robert and I are going to be starting a regular Superman focused show where we talk about like our Superman hot takes and just like Superman stories, characters, etc., continuity issues. It sounds like a typical day in comics and superheroes. I know, Lewis, right? And Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'm still thinking about what I want to do for that. Under Two Capes, we're going to be talking about like touristy fans and such. So that's what I'm going to leave it. Stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. Zois and Maxabat for life. I will see you later. Bye-bye.